Hi everyone, my name's Erin. I'm on the student relations team at Questbridge, and today we're here to talk about the transition to college and how you as a Quest Scholar can make that transition successfully. With us we have three panelists, our interns this summer. They're interning at Questbridge. They're from three different partner colleges. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hi guys, my name is Joy Anderson. I'm the head mentor at Columbia University, where I'm a rising junior majoring in computer science.
Hi, my name's Ricky. I'm a rising junior at Pomona College. I'm currently studying linguistics and sociology.
Hi everyone, I'm Aidan. I'm from Wesleyan University. I'm a junior. I'm studying the College of Social Studies.
Great. So just a logistical point, throughout this hangout, you can ask questions, type them in. They'll be public to everyone, which means that other people can upvote your questions. You can press that little +1, and as questions rise to the top, we'll be sure to answer them more quickly, but we will get around to as many questions as possible today. So today we're going to be talking about, again, the transition to college. And we've talked about this because everyone's experience in transitioning to college is very different. We have a lot of advice to give, looking back on our own experiences and knowing that of our peers. But also remember that your own experience, your own transition to college is going to be different. It's going to be unique to you. With that being said, let's kind of start at the very beginning. When you are still at home, you haven't left for college yet, and you're preparing and you're packing for college. What are some, looking back on how you packed for college, what advice do you have to give?
Leave the books.
Why leave the books?
You might think that you're going to be reading all these books that you have and you wanted to get to in senior year or over the summer. It's just a lot of weight in your carry-ons, and it's a lot to store over the summer. So I would leave them at home, and when you come home, you'll probably read them there, and if you don't, then you probably won't read them in college.
Yeah, one of the things that I would have to say is don't pack as much as you think you're gonna need. There's gonna be a lot of situations you're like, oh, what if I need this? What if I need that? And try to steer away from that. I mean, I was moving from coast to coast, and I had to ship all of my stuff ahead of time, and that gets really expensive with a lot of shipping prices and stuff. So I would say bring less than what you think you need.
So I go to school relatively close to home, so I do pack a lot, but that's not really good advice. I have a lot of friends that are from all around the world and from different parts of the country, and some advice that they've always had is to look out for sales on campus or buying stuff when you get to school. Because of the extra weight and the shipping costs, it sometimes works out to be better to actually buy it while you're there, or even ship it to your school. So if you buy something from Target, for example, don't ship it to your house, ship it directly to school.
Yeah, and I think another good point for that is thinking ahead of just what you'll need for the school year to what you're going to do with it during the summer. Because if you're going to school far away from home, you're probably going to have to store it somewhere. You're not going to want to take everything with you for the summer if you're not staying on campus. And it can be expensive to store things, so you want to just kind of think ahead towards that. Okay. Joy, you mentioned these free, the other communities, like Facebook groups where you can find things for cheap. Can you expand on that?
Sure. So I got Columbia and probably a lot of our partner colleges. We have a bunch of Facebook groups where students have the opportunity to buy books or just any other supplies you can think of, like refrigerators, blankets, whatever, off of other students. And I've done that a lot, actually. I buy tons of textbooks and resources. It saves a lot of money. And also, it's kind of hard to find some of the stuff like refrigerators relatively cheap. I think I bought my first fridge for $36 off we have something called an eco rep sale. So it's recycled from other students, so it's saving the environment and also saving your money.
We have one called Waste Not. So I think most colleges have the trade-off kind of sale thing.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And then, Joy and Aidan, you guys go to schools with colder climate, right? And Aidan, in particular, is coming from Texas, right,
Yeah.
to a colder climate. Do you have any advice for students who are thinking about what kind of clothes they should be bringing for the winter?
don't buy a big puffy jacket. You're not going to need it. You're not going to use it. Just buy. I mean, just layer. Layer is better than all of that. It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot more affordable. You might think that a really nice jacket selling on LL Bean or something like that is necessary, but in reality, I've like used my big jacket not too often, and I've used mostly like smaller jackets that I put on top of one another. I recommend Uniqlo. Their underwear and their undershirts because it's really warm, it's really light, and it's way better than wearing a huge jacket, looking like the Michelin Man everywhere.
They're super cheap too.
Yeah.
They're super cheap. I like McDonald's.
Yeah. Make sure you bring really good buy really good snow boots. I know, at least for Columbia, they don't really cancel class when there's, a lot of snow. They don't want you to get behind on the curriculum, so sometimes you have to go to class when it's pretty snowy outside, but it's okay. It's something you have to learn to do. I think dressing in layers is a really good tip because you do have to bring that to class, and having a bunch of coats and clothes all over the classroom can be kind of hectic. But do what's best for you. I personally have a puffy coat because I like to be really warm. Hats, gloves, definitely rain boots and umbrella if you're in New York City. It rains a lot.
Rain boots.
Rain boots.
Also, on the opposite end of that, if you're going to somewhere with a warmer climate, don't just think that it's all going to be shorts weather like all the time. I think that's one of the mistakes I made the first time, like especially being in Southern California. I was like, I'm gonna wear shorts all the time, and you do need like jeans and like some heavier clothing sometimes because it gets cold at night.
That's a good point.
When you're looking for snow boots, make sure you look at the traction on the snow boots. Make sure it's like there's a lot of traction on the bottom shoes. So it's like wavy, pointy sometimes. Just make sure think about if you're stepping in snow, that it'll go into the snow. Because if it does not go into the snow, you will be sliding a lot. I have boots that I still slide with, but I don't want to buy more boots, so I'm sliding around campus. So look for things that won't make you slide.
And just to keep in mind, a lot of the stuff is like kind of a 4-year investment unless you save longer. So sometimes, a really good coat or a really good pair of boots might be a little pricey at first. Look for the sales. But remember, you're probably going to reuse those boots and wear them almost every day in the winter if it's really snowy. But again, you're going to wear those for the next 4 years. So
for boots, I recommend LL Bean because they will replace your boots throughout your life. So if they get torn or something, or there's like a fray, you can send them back and they'll give you a brand new pair for free.
Pretty cool. I did not know that. Okay. Great. So another thing, when you're transitioning to college, first showing up on campus, it might be a very different community or, atmosphere than what you grew up in. I wonder if you guys can talk a little bit about that transition from your home, your high school, to your college campus, and what that, those first couple days, that first week on campus was like in a really new atmosphere.
I think I probably made the biggest switch. I came from Texas to liberal Wesleyan. On top of that, my community was 80% Hispanic. So I didn't have that much diversity in my life. I think the biggest piece of advice I have is just to go into your first couple weeks of college with an open mind and respect other people's backgrounds, listen more than you speak, just really try to understand where people are coming from. And then soon enough, you'll find the people that hold some similar beliefs or convictions or whatever, and you'll find your friend group. So I think at first, wade in the waters and figure out what the campus is like, and then you'll find your footing.
So going to Columbia's student body is huge. I can say coming from a really small private school where my graduating class was 40 girls, it was a bit overwhelming stepping onto campus and seeing over 6,000 students going around campus every single day. I can say that the first week of college is great because it's new story and orientation. So everyone on campus is new. There's not upperclassmen. So my biggest advice for meeting and finding, going back to what Aidan said, really listen and learn a lot. I did come from a conservative a very conservative community, and going into to a more liberal place. I did learn a lot during orientation about a lot of people. So keep that in mind. Not everyone is going to come from the same background as you, or they might come from the same background as you. So it's still a learning experience, even though you're not technically in the classroom yet. And also, everyone is new, so everyone's going to be extremely friendly. So feel free to just be open with everyone and just introduce yourself, because everyone's new and knows pretty much no one on campus as well. So there's really nothing to be nervous about.
It's okay to forget people's names that you get during orientation. It's okay. There's too
I
many.
got down.
Just smile and nod, and then
Oh my gosh.
I guess my little one piece of advice in addition would just be to realize that everyone's gonna have a different transition process. So whether that's good or bad, just don't let that hinder anything else that you do. Make sure that you are still as bright-eyed and excited for whatever opportunity arises that
this might be really helpful. For those of you that are traveling alone to college, don't worry. It's okay that your parents aren't helping you move in. There are other kids there's a lot of people that are moving in on their own. And, I think you find each other, and it's okay. Don't worry about having parents everywhere. Not your parents can come with you.
And in addition to that, a lot of schools have orientation leaders or certain sort of mentors on campus that help you during move-in. I know Pomona has an orientation committee, so they'll help you move in, and they'll help you know oh, this is where the dorms are, and this is where you should go, and they'll help you occasionally move a box or something, So I think that's something to realize, that you will already have a set community ready to help you.
We have football players helping move in.
Yeah, they move
Different campuses have different things.
Yeah, sure. So kind of relating to this, first week, your first month on campus, do you have any advice, from your experience, living with a roommate, for the first time, someone you didn't know before, right? Maybe not your first roommate ever, but someone you didn't know. Any big lessons or takeaways from that?
I think it's really important to have good communication at the beginning.
It sounds cliche, but
really,
do it.
Sometimes you might have to get out of your comfort zone and talk about, you're just getting to know each other, but it's really good, I think, to establish some not strict ground rules for your room, but at least really getting to know each other's maybe bedtimes. For example, my roommate actually went to bed pretty early, and I felt really bad because I would come back to the room pretty late during orientation week. And if we had talked about it, it would have been better. Or just little pet peeves you might have. Those things usually aren't a big problem, but I think just talking about those things in the beginning before classes start, or things get busy and your roommate might have a different schedule from you, while you both have that time together, then you should definitely establish that communication.
I think one of the things that I kind of learned throughout the year was that me and my roommate were really close in the beginning, and we had good communication, but then we realized we were living together for a year, and some things can go wrong. So I guess my piece of advice is that your roommate doesn't have to be your best friend. You don't have to perfectly get along. Just make sure that you guys are on I guess civil terms and such, so that it makes living easier. You don't have to do everything together. You don't have to be constantly together. It's just it may just be someone that you live with, type of thing.
A lot of my problems with my roommate that I had freshman and sophomore year was the fact that I kept a lot of my annoyances in and I didn't talk about them. And I feel like a lot of conflicts could have been resolved a lot earlier if I would have just brought it up. I go to bed really early, and anything can really wake me up, even though that I pretend to sleep through it. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Be honest. Just really, you're not gonna. Some schools will have you sit down and make an agreement and make sure that you guys talk about what to do. But in reality, you're not gonna know everything. You're not gonna know all the vices that you have, and they're not gonna know all the vices that they have. So make sure that when you talk about that, there might be things that come up. Let's talk about them later. Make sure you make that clear, because it's just going to make your life so much easier during the year.
Okay. So kind of, again, on the topic of going off to school for the first time, not only are you kind of making these new relationships with people on campus, but hopefully you're also trying to stay in touch with people back home, whether that's friends or family or anyone else. Do you guys have any thoughts on strategies for doing that, or different approaches for
that? Yeah. Please stay in touch with your families. I remember when I first got to New York, I was just so distracted by the city and having so much fun that one time I actually went 2 months without even contacting home. Yeah, don't do that. So I think it's good also to establish maybe a way of communication with your families, but also explain that, you don't have as much free time as you might have had in high school. So you might have to explain to your parents that you might not be able to call them every night, or that sometimes a text message might be more meaningful or more suitable for your schedule. So I think it's important to establish that. But some things that I would do with my family was one, like Facebook, text message, Skype calls, yeah. And I also live close to home, so a lot of my friends would like to come up and visit me.
I think one of the things I also had an issue with was it wasn't necessarily contacting my family, but contacting my friends from high school, and that everyone's going to college and everyone's super busy, and I think opinions and things you like to do change during this time. So when you're kind of transitioning, especially your first winter break back, people are going to be very different than before when you left. So I think just keeping in mind that people are gonna be a little different and act a little different, but don't take that to heart that you did anything wrong, but more so just hey, this is a time of change and a time of getting to learn new things about people you thought you knew really well, I guess, or for a while.
Remember, there's always breaks. Your friends are also in college. They're also very busy. It's not that they forgot about you. You're going to go home. Well, not everyone's going home for break, but there are breaks and periods of times that you can possibly see your friends.
On the topic of breaks, for some Quest scholars, it might be difficult to make it home during Thanksgiving or spring break or some of those times when a lot of other people are gone from campus. Have you guys experienced that? And do you have any advice for students who might be facing that same situation?
I haven't been home for Thanksgiving or spring break at all, which is kind of difficult for me because my birthday is during Thanksgiving. So that time, it was really weird the first year. But when you're a Quest scholar, you have Quest giving to go to. So college campuses will have Thanksgiving dinner for you. There'll be events to go to. There are other Quest scholars on campus. There are other people on campus. For spring break, there's things that are offered on some campuses. There's things that you might just want to relax because you just had a rough half semester and you need a break. So it's okay to not be going home.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't gone home for any sort of holiday, and Pomona has a couple smaller holidays in between where I know people go home, and it's been difficult. Don't get me wrong, but it's also been nice because I've gotten to explore a lot of the area around California, and my school has a lot of trips during those small breaks. We have an outdoor education center where for fall break one time I went to Mount Zion for a week or half a week, and it was just a really awesome trip. And I was wait, this was kind of better than going home sometimes. So just look at those opportunities and things involved and resources at your school.
We have Quest giving too. Every chapter is Quest giving. Yeah.
Most chapters have Quest giving.
But in Quest giving, you said a Thanksgiving meal put on by
and some schools actually collaborate too.
Yeah,
That's true.
you might not have it at your school, but you might go to another school to have it.
Mm-hmm. And it's cool because you can meet other Quest scholars.
Yeah, it's a really great time. And then I feel at those events, you also see that there are a lot of other students on your campus who didn't go home for that break, and that you're all there together. For sure. So, kind of on the topic again of family and going home for breaks or not, you change a lot in college from the person that you were in high school, and maybe even from the different values that you had growing up, sometimes those can change. And that can be, difficult sometimes in communicating with your family back home, and keeping up those relationships. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? I know this is a more difficult topic.
I think it's very easy to think high and mighty of yourself because you went to college, and your parents might not have gone to college, so you might just be very cognizant they're still your parents. Just because they don't know what some obscure theory is by some person doesn't make them any less. Same goes for your friends. You're not any better than anybody else. Keep it real. To be honest, when I go home, I speak differently than when I speak at school, because at school I can speak a little bit more intellectually and I can bounce ideas off my friends and I can talk about different social theorists and different things that I learned in class because that's what you do at school. But at home, they might not necessarily want to talk about what you learned, or they might want to hear about what you learned, but they might just smile and nod. So don't fault anybody for not knowing what you know, and be aware that different educations and different majors might change. They're deep down, there's still a reason why you were friends in the first place. So look back for that, and it's okay to not have the same interests.
I think one of the biggest challenges of coming home after being in college it wasn't really my what I learned in classes or my intellectual conversations that I wanted to have with my mom. I think it was just more of I was still in the college zone and being independent. So having to come home again to curfews, having to live under your parents' roof, it's a challenge, but it's temporary. But yeah, like Aidan said, just keep it real. Not everyone, honestly, for lack of better words, keep it real. Sometimes, I know, in my household, sometimes it is a little bit more difficult to discuss some of more of my liberal views because my parents are more conservative in some things. But, it's a learning process. At the same time, I love to teach my parents, my opinions on things. So I don't think it's wrong to share those opinions if you feel like you have a safe environment at home, or even if you just feel like you want to challenge that environment at home. I think it's okay to do that.
On the subject of independence real quick, that's why I don't go home that often anymore, because I like being independent. So you might learn that, because the first break, the winter break, will be really, really hard. You will just have had a semester where you're on your own, and then you're back under someone else again. So just keep that in mind and be aware that if you can, try to get back on a little bit on campus earlier, try to do something productive, because I think that's another thing. When you're not productive at home, it feels weird. Everything just feels weird after the first semester. Yeah.
So jumping to a new topic now, thinking about the more logistical details of going off to college. Let's start with work study and budgeting. When you first get onto campus, let's start with work study first of all. Do you have any advice for students who have work study in their financial aid or in their match package for finding that job and just generally managing time at your job?
You should be looking now. Since it's August, a lot of departments or professors are already, at least at Columbia I know, are posting a lot of job offers, and you want to get the best job opportunities. In terms of what jobs work best for you, I found that my first year I worked at a library. I thought that was very stress-free. I didn't want to add any, at my job, I was able to study at the desk. It was also a quiet place where I could read at the desk or really relax away from a stressful day of classes. For other people, they might want to, I know there's some opportunities where you can do research or something related to your field. So, there's also those kinds of opportunities. With balancing time, I think it's really up to what you feel comfortable with. I wouldn't say taking a lot of hours in the beginning is a great idea. So maybe if possible, ask your supervisor if you can start with minimum hours and then working more hours a week if time permits. But yeah, I feel like the best work, at least for first years, the best jobs are usually the ones that are stress-free. We don't have to think about and even have time that you could possibly do homework at the desk.
We actually have a question that's really relevant right now, and that is, how do you recommend first-year students balance orientation activities with the work-study search? So Joy, I know you were saying that you should be looking for work-study even before you get to campus, but if you haven't and you're there on campus and orientation, which is a hectic time, any advice for that?
I was actually hired for my job during orientation week. So yeah, that is something that you'll, I know like at Columbia we have like job fairs or, we have like a job fair. So some students go out and get a job on campus during orientation week. I'm not sure what it's like at other campuses, but yeah, remember everyone's schedule. I mean, orientation week is great because it's your first time in college. Everyone's free. There's no like curfew. There's no homework. But remember, the reality is you're all gonna have different schedules and different responsibilities, and that's a responsibility that you're gonna have. So I think in terms of maybe your friends not be looking for a job and you're looking for a job, it's completely okay. There's other students that are on the same boat. What was the other part of the question? Was that?
Yeah, just balancing the two. Yeah.
Oh, balancing. Usually, I know for Columbia, you'll apply online and just send emails, or maybe brief interviews. So,
Did you have an in-person interview?
For my job, it was more of like, hi, like it was at a fair, so
Okay.
it was
So
like
it was
on the spot.
Was the fair during orientation?
Mhm, it was.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, so there might be work study like job fairs during orientation, which you should definitely go to because the people there are looking to hire you probably very quickly for the coming year.
Another quick tip, also, if you have a blessed mentor that had work study, maybe ask them about their job and, if possible, ask them to talk to their supervisor and possibly help you get a job. I did that for my mentees last year, and we all work at the same job.
I think when looking for work study, it's very easy to forget that just breathe. You're going to get a job. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
There are so many jobs available on campus, and just because you get a job that's not the best job in your first semester doesn't mean that you're committed for the rest of your college life. I just wanted to contrast with something what Joy said earlier. The way that I worked my first year, I took on a lot of stuff so I could figure out what I really cared about, and I worked my way down, whereas Joy worked her way up. So really honestly find out what works out for you, because if you're gonna be stressed and figure out your way, do it your first year of college or first semester of college, so that when you're explaining why your grades were a little bit lower than usual, it was your first semester in college, and you were trying to figure out work study, you were trying to figure out how to work with classes, you were trying to figure out your co-curriculars. So don't worry, breathe, you'll be fine. Reach out to departments, ask if they'll hire you. There's so many opportunities to go on campus. It's not that big of a deal.
In terms of budgeting,
That's hard.
I think it's really important. What I did before I went to college was just made a list of things that I knew that I would have expenses for. So I paid for my own phone or travel back home, and just list those things. And just know that sometimes you can make sacrifices. So maybe sometimes you don't want to go out to eat every weekend. Instead, you want to invest in a new laptop or something. So I think it's really important just to list those priorities first.
Also see if your financial aid office will help subsidize any of those sort of costs, whether that's travel or again, if this isn't included in your financial aid package with books or anything like that, make sure that you just give them ask them, because they're more than willing to at least answer that question. And again, I mean, if possible, look for other scholarships or for a laptop or things like that, because you can still apply.
Mm-hmm.
You can still do those kind of things.
Put away money now. Start saving now. Actually, you should have started saving yesterday. Put a quarter of your paycheck, whatever you get, into savings. Don't touch it. Make sure that you just put it there. When your friends want to go out and you don't have enough money to go out, it's okay to say no. It doesn't make you the downer. It's reality. Really, a thing that you will learn in college is that people love to split checks evenly. Tell them no. You just no, because there's so many costs that you can avoid by just being honest and being real. It's not being a downer. facing reality.
Also, on the tip on like budgeting, like I guess by extension banking, if you can look ahead of what like banks and stuff are like in the area of your school, so that you know ahead of time, like if you need to get a bank account, like what bank is the best, and look for ones that offer like discounts or like some sort of like no interest for like college student type accounts, and just like by asking in like maybe a Facebook group or someone you know that goes to your college already.
So if you have like a big bank like Chase or Bank of America, definitely check if there's an ATM available on campus, because there will be times when you need cash to like buy a T-shirt or something. If you have like a federal credit union, a lot of federal credit unions will waive the ATM fee. So think about that too.
Okay. We have another question on here. It's kind of similar to what we were talking about before, but I think it's really important. And that is, what is the most difficult part about adjusting from your community to your college life? So take a second, think about this, because this is a really big question and very important to the college transition.
I felt like I was inadequate for the first couple weeks of college because there was a lot of ground that I had to make up, and I wasn't born with Socrates in my mind. I didn't understand Plato from day one, and there's people who were I feel like a lot of people were throwing around names and name dropping and like, oh, I met President Obama, just like trying to really show themselves off. But in reality, I think a lot of people were just nodding and saying, oh yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you don't know it, it's okay. Like, it's okay that you weren't raised with so many different experiences. It's okay that you didn't go on an expedition to Africa. It's okay that you didn't, everybody does different things, and just because you didn't do what one of your peers did does not make you any less of a person. I'm pretty sure that there's some things that you've experienced in your life that your peers haven't that have made you a better person. So don't feel like you need to engage in the one-upping contest, because it can really take a toll on your mental health.
Okay. One of the biggest challenges I think having when I first started was as a woman engineer and a person of color as well, I felt like there was a very, very small community of us on campus. So coming from a big community where a lot of people looked like me or came from similar backgrounds as myself, and transitioning into this very small engineering school was hard. A lot of these students, came from strong engineering backgrounds in their high schools. I mean, I had a really strong background as well in like math and sciences, but as a computer science major, some people start early. But you know what? I learned that it's okay. When you're accepted into these universities, they're not expecting you to start at like professional level. It's okay to start at Calculus 1. You don't have to jump to Calculus 5. And I did that. I took the longer route to really learn. And also I established a relationship with my professors when, a lot of jargon or different topics that were being thrown around class that I wasn't familiar with. I went to them and was like, hey, this is my first time actually learning about this topic, or I don't feel as comfortable, discussing this topic in class. Like, how can I learn more? And they're always very welcoming to helping their students learn more, because they want to see you do your best. So, yeah. My biggest challenge.
I think a really important thing to touch on is a lot of your freshman intro level classes will be really big, especially at research universities. Not so much at like liberal arts schools, but like if you're in a science class, most definitely it'll be big. So do not get lost in the size of the class. Go to your professor, go to your TAs, ask early, ask as much as you want. It's their job to answer your questions, and it's their job to help you, because I think that was the hardest part about college, is going to office hours, and I didn't really start doing it until sophomore year. And my GPA would have thanked me a lot more if I would have done it my first year. So who cares if you come off as awkward or you don't really, they're supposed to help you, and it doesn't really matter if you, at the end of the day, get a better grade in the class. Just ask. Yeah,
and I actually think the way Joy was wording, like, asking the professors for help, saying, I want to learn more, I want to be comfortable with this, but I'm not right now, like, how can I get there, is really useful, instead of just saying, I don't know what to do, showing that you want to move forward and you want to kind of get to the level, but you just need a little bit of extra help. They're, the professors for a reason, they want to help you, they want to work with you and get you to that point.
And if they're not that helpful, go to your deans and they'll give you a tutor to help you out.
There is a lot of like
That's
mini
cool.
tutoring resources or different like peer support throughout colleges, especially in like the maths and sciences. Those are all readily available.
Yep.
Just like writing centers, those are all resources that are like free and available, and you should definitely seek out sooner rather than later.
It's okay to ask for help. You guys are going to be campuses with like some of the brightest minds in this country, but everyone needs help. Everyone has a question, so no question's about a question.
We have another question now. It is, do you have any general tips on balancing social activities and studying or academics?
So definitely, I'm still stuck in the trap of using Sunday as my do everything day. And I want to try this next year to get away from that. But just to really set a good example for yourself and put a little bit of work in each day so that you're not stuck like me every Sunday, slaving away in the library until late at night to finish something that's due that week. Really do a good job at like trying to separate it out. And for the social activities and going out on the weekends, try to like do a little bit of work in the morning, because I know it's a little bit hard because you're a little bit tired from the week. Just a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, I would kind of echo that in that I obviously had my academic workload and everything, but I tend to be a person who likes to be involved in a lot of different like extracurriculars and co-curricular activities. So I thought I could do like 5 or 6 different clubs and organizations, and then like also like be president of those organizations. So I would say that think about like the organizations that you really want to like make an impactful difference on. And like make sure that you're involved in those organizations, but that you are also, taking time to for yourself, but also for your academics and things like that. Because you're gonna want to do everything, but in reality, you can't do everything. So just make sure you take that time for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's something that I learned quickly being in New York City, which can be a huge distraction for some people because you literally have everything. So one thing that I learned was that you can make just everyday task a social thing. So for example, everyone has to eat, right? So instead of eating alone or grabbing a quick snack or food before class, maybe eat lunch with a friend that you haven't seen in like a couple of days. Like have those social interactions throughout the day. Maybe go to the library with your friends. I found that you don't have to like go out and do social events all the time. It's really just like seeing your friends and being around them that actually helps as well. I found that to be really helpful.
And also, like, that's a great point, but like there's something on the other side of that I want to echo, that like things with like meals and like taking time again for yourself.
True.
One of the things that I realized is that it wasn't until this past semester, my 4th semester in college, that I had my first meal alone. I had was always worried about going to the dining hall and like looking weird, eating by myself or like something like that. But I realized that like those are actually one of the best moments when you can just take time to like enjoy your food and like time to take a break from like your social life, your academic life, and all those things. And like just don't be afraid to like take a moment away from people and like away from all those things, because those will really help you in terms of like your mental health.
I think a really helpful question to ask yourself when trying to weed out events and activities to go to is this helping me in any way? Is this helping me mentally? Is this helping me grow as an individual? Is this contributing to my life? Like, really ask yourself what your actions are doing in college and make the ones that are the most meaningful to you and the most meaningful to your future. And that I really want to emphasize mental health on that, because it's really easy to lose track of what you're doing to manage your stress, to manage your homesickness, to manage any kind of feelings that you have.
So kind of in the vein of juggling extracurriculars and academics, our next question is, if you want to try a lot of extracurriculars but don't necessarily know what you want to commit to, is it weird to drop out of things if you realize they aren't for you? And when would be an appropriate time to do that?
So everybody signs up at listserv.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
will be on a listserv forever. You will be on a listserv for the rest of your life. You will be graduated from college. You will still be on that listserv. So it's okay to sign up for stuff.
Yeah.
Make sure that you unsubscribe from listservs if you have. It's totally okay to like join something and drop out. I've done it a lot. My first semester I went insane. I worked 35 hours a week for like a couple of weeks. I had my 4 classes and I had like a lot of activities, and something had to go. So a lot of stuff did go, and it's okay to drop out. Nobody's gonna judge you.
Yeah, so I had a lot of like interests, so I wasn't really committed to one club my first year. So I would just go to like any event that seemed interesting to me. So if it was like an engineering event, but if it was about electrical engineering, I might not be as interested, but maybe there was something, I don't know, with like National Society of Black Engineers that I wanted to go to instead. I was related to computer science. The following week, I would just say like, okay, this week I want to dedicate this time to studying, or instead of going to that event, like you never had to be like committed to your club. At least some clubs that I've been involved in. But yeah, like they know that you're trying out a lot of these clubs. I think it's different than when you're in high school and like you go to a club every single week. It's not the same structure at all.
Yeah, and I think there's also like a difference between being like a general member of a club and being involved in the leadership. There's a big difference in as a general member, depending on the organization, you don't really have to go, you can pick and choose which events you want to go to, and you just attend the events. You don't have to organize them or anything like that. But ultimately, you can definitely drop out, especially if you need the time. At any time, you're welcome to drop out. If you're in leadership, obviously you should probably give some advance warning.
Yeah.
But otherwise, freshman year, it's
Like pretty
very
common.
normal for people to sign up for more than they can handle and to drop out.
And remember, they're your peers. They're students too. They totally get it. They've been there.
Yeah.
Anybody who says that they haven't been there is lying to you. So.
And also, I want that to like echo in terms of work study as well. I think that's a really important point. If you need time, especially for like academics, talk to your boss or your manager about like, hey, I'm like a little like behind in my work, or like not feeling like I can like do as many hours as I am with like my current schedule and everything. And just talk to them from an honest point of view, and they will definitely like work with you to find out like the best solution to like balancing those two things.
With enough notice, of course. Because some managers are really, that's what, when you're looking for jobs and you're in your interview, ask them about that.
Yeah.
And so that you don't have any problems in the future, especially like they're okay with during finals, they're okay during midterms, but
Yeah, asking how flexible the hours
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Usually they'll like say flexible hours, or for me, we had a lot of employees and general assistants at the library, so like I could like text a friend like, hey, can you cover my shift? So it really depends on the job. If you're like a one-man show, then it might be different.
So now thinking about the different like student discounts you can get, and also the hidden costs of college. You guys have any advice for like first year, like figuring out like good deals and things to kind of like take into consideration?
One of my I think like best sign up things was Amazon Prime. I like if you sign up with your like college ID, you get Amazon Prime for free for like I think it's like something like 6 months or something. Make sure you cancel it before the 6 months is up though, because they will charge you.
Unless you want it.
Unless you want it. But sometimes I don't know. Like I know for my email address, I get like different aliases, so I have like 6 different emails that all direct to mine. So I currently have Amazon Prime free for like 36 months. But anyway, like that was really convenient because they offer free 2-day shipping. So for books, for like
especially for books.
Yeah, for supplies, like dorm stuff, like any of that kind of thing. It was really convenient to have. And if you refer someone, you get like a certain amount of credit or something. So.
In terms of buying discounts on campus, we do. A lot of campuses offer a lot of free stuff, free food. You really have to look out on Facebook, social media, ask your class mentor. please ask your class mentor about a lot of these resources. I know that at Columbia we have a book drive, so we give out you can rent out free books for a semester. I know at my library we borrow other books from other universities, so you can get free books that we might not have on campus from another school. Please remember that. That saved me $300. I know that there's movie vouchers. I know there's an arts initiative at Columbia, so we can get to a lot of museums for free or see Broadway shows. Sometimes we have raffles, so you can win tickets to a Yankees game. You just have to really pay attention to your emails. Open the arts initiative ones. I always miss the raffles sometimes, so those are always great. And really just reach out to students on campus because we know the best deals and we've been there for a long time.
Definitely go to your library's reserve desk because they have a lot of the books that are for your courses. So you don't need to buy the books. You don't need to. You can. I just found out this past year that they have every book that I could ever need for college in that reserve desk, and all I have to do, of course, they have a time limit on them.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I would photocopy them, and it's not supposed to happen. I photocopied them, and I had them off for my own. I was able to mark them up. I didn't have to mark up the book. Sometimes I scanned them. Sometimes I had tutorial classes, so we would divvy up the work. So 1 week I would do it, the next week somebody else would do it. If you're really into reading and not marking anything up, more power to you. You don't have to do that. Just go rent out the book.
Another thing, sometimes you can ask your professors this, not all of them agree to it, but I found that because a lot of science textbooks update and a lot of the information is still the same in terms of the questions in the back of the book, you can talk to a professor about using an older edition to a textbook. Obviously, sometimes the questions might not line up or correlate, but
The content is the same.
The content is the same. Sometimes it might just be a different order of questions. I know for my statistics class, my professor would list the homework questions for edition 1 and the homework edition for edition 2. A lot of them are pretty open about that. So you can also try that as well.
And also, if you can, bring them the older edition if you do have it, so they can look through it and see if there's anything that changes. Usually for a lot of these updated books, all they do is shift chapters around. They shift chapters around to make more money, but that is besides the fact. And really look for those little cost-cutting measures that can help you out, because they might seem like you're being cheap, but it's books are really expensive. They're so expensive. So just do whatever you can and realize that you don't have to buy every book.
And one more thing is, if you already registered for classes, if you write a good email, a polite email, sometimes you can get the syllabus from your professors early, and you can look into the textbooks. I found that to be also pretty helpful also to learn more about the course, because you can also kind of look through the book and see if this is really what content you want to learn in the classes. But I think giving yourself enough time also to order books, because sometimes when you order maybe from a used site, shipping might not be as fast for another site where it's 2 days shipping. So if you can, possibly do that, and also you'll get first dibs on library books.
There's so much to talk about. So another
I've
thing
never paid for a textbook.
That's the way to do it.
Never.
I've paid for many textbooks. I've also paid for textbooks that I've never used. So when you go into a class, don't buy the books before you get into the class. Get the syllabus. Look through the syllabus. See which days you'll be reading that book, if it's even in the schedule of the book.
Sure.
And make sure if you can't buy them all at once, spread it out when you buy the books. I'm not going to be reading this book for another 6 weeks. Let me wait to buy that one, and I could buy this one first. And it could be another way to save money.
And also sometimes your professor might allow grace period of 2 weeks sometimes of people, at least my class that I've taken. They know that not everyone's going to have the book the first day of class, because sometimes they change syllabus or don't post the book or don't know what they're using for their class yet. Sad news. But sometimes they'll scan the pages that you'll need. So you'll have a lot of time to purchase books, but still as we said earlier before, try to save up, or find resources where you can find these textbooks, or talk to previous students that take the classes. Either get their notes and their their textbooks so that you can use.
Yeah, I think there's a delicate balance between, waiting to the very last minute until you get to class to buy the books, and like being very prepared and maybe paying more than you need to for the books. So always having a backup plan if you are going to wait for that first day of classes, knowing that they're at the library, or maybe already having them checked out from the library, or knowing that they're at course reserves or something like that. Just like having a backup strategy in case you really need the book the next day. Where are you going to get it?
Connecting some of the past advice that I had together. Don't buy the books yet. Go to course reserves for the first couple of days, and then buy the book later.
Yes. Or if you have a friend who's in the course.
Oh yeah, or somebody
sure.
that went to class before, ask them for their
Take
book.
pictures on your phone, just for like, I'll do that, but for the first week.
Okay, so let's move away from books. This was a great discussion on books. So let's talk a little bit more about other campus resources that you think are really important to use to reach out to that maybe you didn't even realize existed your freshman year.
Go to your career center as soon as possible, like first, second, third week, because a lot of internships for your first summer they'll start applications in October or maybe even sooner. So you should start thinking about that, working on resumes with them, working on cover letters with them, practicing interviews with them, asking if they can direct you to any resources, asking if they can direct you to alumni. I would recommend that.
One of the things that I think is a really good opportunity for a lot of students, especially there's the Quest community on campus, so you'll get kind of low-income first generation support. But one of the things I also used was the Chicano Latino Student Affairs group. And I know there's an Office of Black Student Affairs, Asian American Students Resource Center. So all of these cultural support groups. There's also the Queer Resource Center, and again, these are going to vary from school to school, but a lot of these support groups are kind of going to help you kind of get through this emotional transitional process and support you in a way that you might not have been traditionally supported. So definitely check out what's available.
This one might sound obvious, but the health center.
So true.
It's kind of hard to take care of yourself sometimes, especially when you are really busy and have a lot of homework. But most for room and board or in your tuition package usually covers for a health service fee. I've gotten free flu shots or medicine with very, very low co-pays. Or they are just free visits. There are doctors on campus that basically can tell you what's wrong. So there's really no excuse for you to be going to class coughing and you're gonna get sick sometimes. But I got really sick during campus because I didn't reach out and I waited until I got home and I had to go through final sec because I didn't know how to utilize the health resources on campus.
Have medicine in your room. Have emergency Dayquil, have emergency NyQuil, have emergency painkillers, cough drops. Have Band-Aids. Have a first aid kit in your room.
Be a doctor.
Also, something on the health part is that some schools offer some sort of health insurance. So if that is something that you aren't personally covered by, look into your school's policy on that, because that might be a saver. Because that health insurance might also carry over to summer break or winter breaks. So you should really check that out if that's something you might need.
A lot of schools do not accept Medicaid as the health insurance plan if it's not from their own state. So make sure that you looked into that already or look into it after this and figure out if there's a health insurance grant so that you can get your grant because it's kind of pricey, or try to look into that too.
Yeah, and to health resources side of it, also add mental health resources, different counseling services, also a lot of preventative workshops on managing stress and managing your workload. Okay, let's talk about academics a little bit more. Let's talk about the idea of dropping classes, because this might be a completely new concept, and I think it's really important. So the dropping classes is something where you can sign up for, say you sign up for 4 classes at the beginning of your semester, and then a couple weeks in, you realize that one class is either, not really what you're interested in, or maybe it's at a level that's much, it's very difficult for you to keep up, and you think you could use more time in it, or maybe just it's not the right time to be taking that class for you, you can drop that class with no repercussions. Have you guys done that before? You want to share your experiences with this?
I drop classes all the time. I think it's also because the reason I dropped, actually my first semester, I dropped my first computer science class. The workload was pretty heavy for me. I knew that I was taking a lot of classes. And it's okay. I went and talked to my my advisor. And we crafted basically like a plan of my 4 years and like the classes I want to take. And that's not strict, it's flexible. Maybe you want to find out. And also, that's the other thing. I also was pre-med and I thought I was going to do the medical school route. And sometimes you don't, sometimes you might find something that's more interesting. So maybe you might not want to take chemistry or go one semester and instead take computer science classes instead because that's more suitable for you, and that's fine because you're in college and you're learning like what fits for you and what really interests you. But yeah, dropping classes is completely fine. Just keep in mind the drop date because you don't want to get like a withdrawal, which is it's just like a W on your. It doesn't look. I mean, at least in my opinion, I don't think it looks that great on your transcript. So you want to look out for those drop deadlines. And for engineering, you have a lot more time.
Is it 2 weeks for your?
It's for engineers. It's actually pretty far in, like almost close to the end of the semester.
Yeah.
So so for some students, like I know my professors. I mean, it was kind of blunt for them to say this, but if you find yourself having a heavy workload and maybe you're not doing so well in a class, it's okay to drop that class. If you feel like that would be better to have more time to focus on your other classes, or maybe because you don't want that grade on your transcript. But remember, there's still time to fix your grades throughout the semester at the same time. So don't drop everything because you think you're doing horribly. You're gonna do fine.
On the top of that, I had kind of a similar experience where I wasn't doing too well in a class my first semester, and for my school, the drop deadline's about 2 months in. But the ad deadline was 4 days in, so I was worried about not taking a full course load, and ended up that I dropped the class about 2 months in, and I didn't. I made up. I'm currently still on track to graduate on time. I have all my credits that one credit I would have missed. I made that up already, so it's super easy to make up credits. But just keep that in mind that you want to make sure that you kind of have a plan for being oh, okay, one semester I'm going to have to take an extra class, or one semester I'm going to have to do this to make it up. There's also the pass no credit deadline or option that some schools offer. So if you're feeling that for my school again, there's a pass no credit deadline after a drop deadline. So if you're feeling that I don't want to drop the class, I still want to get the credit for the class, but maybe the grade isn't exactly what you would have wanted on your transcript, pass no credit would just show up as a pass in the class, or you would get no credit for the class. So check that option out.
Also keep in mind, I know for Columbia we do have a minimum credits we have to take per semester. So I think it's 12, so that's 4 classes. So for us, we had to take at least 4 classes. So
minimum is usually
12.
It changes from school to school. My school, it's 3.
Yeah.
So
I know for engineering, it's a lot more than that. But yeah. So if you feel like you're still exploring, it's okay to make. I know for me, I put maybe an extra class, and then I wasn't sure I was deciding between 2. Just remember, there's a shopping period in the beginning to really get used to your classes, and your professors know that. And that's why sometimes there's long wait lists on classes because people drop them. They realize this isn't really a class for them, and they just registered for it because they thought that they wanted to take it that semester, and it turned out to not work out.
Yeah, and all of this is really stuff that you should be talking to your advisor about, your academic advisor, because they'll know all the ins and outs of what credits you need to take and how many you can take, pass, fail, all those little details so that you can graduate on time. So whenever you're thinking about these decisions or whether you should drop a class, just check in with them, ask their opinion, and never be afraid to drop a class, even though there is sometimes a stigma against it. You feel like you have to push through. It's fine. So many people drop classes. It's really, really okay. Okay, so it is 5 o'clock, but I think there's one more question that's really important, and that has to do with the QSN. So I know you guys are all involved to some extent with the Quest Scholars Network on your campus. I'd really like for you guys to kind of describe what the Quest Scholars Network is like on each of your campuses and what it was like when you first got involved with it.
So I was liaison my freshman year, which is the campus connector to the headquarters in Palo Alto. I was flown out and trained as a liaison before I even went to college. So I was responsible for putting on events, putting mentors together, and just building a Quest community on campus. I've been heavily involved in my 2 years, and I'm excited. I'm now an intern, so apparently I love the QSN. And I think it's a really good support network. It's really nice to have a common ground with someone. And
Oh, sure. So if you're a Columbia student, please come out and support your Quest Scholars Network. We're a really tight-knit bunch. We have a really strong executive board, which we call e-board, and we really encourage all of our first-year students, or even not even first-year students, to really be involved and to build a community with one another. And you don't have to, but we really encourage you. Just know that we're there. So I know in our chapter we do a lot of community service events or professional development, academic, excuse me, support, and also mentorship. Happy to put that in there. So yeah, we do offer a lot of stuff for our students, and we're really just there to be your backbone on campus. So when things are maybe when things aren't going so well, or maybe things are going great, and you just want to meet new people, you always have your Quest Scholars Network there for you. And that's always great to have you there.
I haven't had an active leadership role in my Quest chapter, but I have been pretty active in going to meetings and little study breaks and stuff like that. So it's been kind of a different experience for me, but nonetheless, it's been a really rewarding experience to have a community on campus which supports you and understands to some extent what you may be going through as a low-income student on campus. So I definitely, again, would echo the words of reach out to your community if you can, and kind of experience what that that prideful Quest identity is, if you can. Yeah.
Great. Okay, we're gonna end this hangout now. But if you have any other questions, always go to the Facebook group for your Quest chapter. Reach out to Quest Scholars who are on campus. They're gonna have great answers. They're gonna have really good insight into what transitioning to college at your particular school will be like. And remember, when school's starting up in a couple weeks for some of you, or a month for others, there'll probably be a welcome event that your Quest Scholars Network will be posting for returning upperclassmen to greet you as freshmen. Very exciting time, a great way to kind of get involved with your chapter for the first time and see what this community is about that we really love.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have one quick thing.
One more thing, yes.
If you have a chance, you should definitely, this is a shameless plug, but check out the QB Scoop on Twitter.
That's great.
It lists kind of transitional tips and some stuff from current Quest Scholars. So if you have an opportunity to check that out, definitely would check it out.
Hashtag for the QB Scoop.
Yeah, hashtag it.
Yes. Okay, great. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and good luck with your transition to college.
Bye.
Bye.